been really affected recently by the nastiness that's in this world, by the name calling, the judgments, the assumptions, the rudeness that we're applying to people. And Darren Jones MP has just exacerbated my anger with his question time performance. And don't get me wrong, it's not just Darren, it's endemic in the Labour Party. This real hatred of a sector of society, and I wonder where that would ever be acceptable. What other sector of society other than private schools would be fair game? Where would we be saying it's okay to publicly devalue and disrespect their existence? I mean, it just wouldn't happen anywhere else. It couldn't happen anywhere else. And I don't know why. We're talking about children whose parents make a choice for them to go to a different school. Yet Darren Jones is proudly saying, as have many other Labour MPs, that the Cabinet is made entirely of state school MPs. So, he hasn't said, we don't want private school MPs, but he may as well have done, which is awkward because there are many private school MPs in the Labour Party, but they're all too scared to admit it. Keir Starmer can't even address his own history. He was privately educated, yet he just doesn't comment on it. Because if he does comment on it, then it's hypocrisy, at its highest level. And it's these constant statements of, we're better because we're state educated. Well, we can care more because we're state educated. Well, we know what you need because we're state educated. And it's like, how did you miss the massive glaring bit that these are kids and their parents? I mean, I was state educated. I went to a comprehensive school. I shouldn't even say I was lucky, but I was lucky. Where I grew up, the local comprehensive was brilliant. So I went there. Now, my kids go to private school. Who do you like in our demographic? Because you don't like my kids because they go to private school. And you don't like me because I send them to private school, but you kind of have to like me because I went to state school. Can you see what's happening? And we talk about the class war. This has nothing to do with class. We're confusing class with money. We're confusing people who have money to be upper class, middle class. My interpretation of class is how you behave, what your social moral compass tells you to do, what your ethics are. It's got nothing to do with what's in your bank account, because I know people that have got overflowing bank accounts and have a total inability to speak politely to somebody. Yet I know people who are absolutely on the breadline and have got one of the nicest outlooks on life and approaches to other people. They're not jealous, they're not vindictive, they're not bitter. And they have every right to be. They could turn around and go, well, you're just a rich so-and-so because you get to go on holiday and I don't. But they don't. They don't do that because they've been brought up with morals and ethics. And I'm flabbergasted that it's okay for people like Darren to go on places like Question Time and talk about this divide and create this divide in front of our very eyes, because nowhere else in society would it be acceptable. We would never be able to do this. Yet here we are. State is here, private is here, state is good, private is bad. And then he goes on to say, he's proudly saying, we're all state educated, but we're going to bring down private schools. Well, hang on a minute. By your own admission, and we know Bridget Phillipson has never been to a private school. She won't even go to high-performing state schools. So we know that you know nothing about the private sector, but here you are merrily bringing it down. This isn't anything to do with money. We know that. That ship sailed so long ago, and even the people that were arguing that it was about money are now going, yeah, it's really not about money. There is no money coming from this. We know that this is just now an envy. But when are we going to get any answers on that? Because, and again, I know we're not going to get it in Prime Minister's questions, which I actually think Sir Lindsey Hoyle he's not fit for the job. He's not holding Keir Starmer to account. So he was asked a question by Kemi Badenoch about whether he could guarantee that no teachers would lose their jobs with all of the price cuts. And all he did was blame the Conservatives and sneer and bully. I mean, he looks so weak. I know he thinks he looks strong and I am man, I will bully. He looks weak and really pathetic because he shows his absolute lack of credentials because he can't answer a question. People would have so much more respect for him if he turned around and said, no, I can't guarantee that people won't lose their jobs and that teachers won't lose their jobs. We're working on it and we're looking at a way to minimise that and make sure that doesn't happen so much. But no, I can't guarantee it. That's what I'd say. I wouldn't go, it's your fault the past 14 years, da, 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 because that just promotes this image of petty, childish disconnect. And we know there is a petty, childish disconnect. It's with him, it's with Rachel Reeves. I mean, this rubbish about at the end of the Labour government, we'll all be 500 quid better off. What, in damage money? We've got to get to the end of your government. I mean, at this rate, I don't know that we're going to get through the first year. And she says it all smiling as though that's great. You'll have an extra £500. I mean, this is coming from the woman who rents out 2 flats in London, has a combined income of over £400,000, yet still thinks it's okay to have free Sabrina Carpenter tickets. I mean, I can't be the only one that thinks that that is off the scale. Can I? Yeah. Here she is telling us that we will be £500 better off by the end of their government. Oh, well, fantastic. Brilliant. Amazing. If that's the best you can do, we've got some proper mega issues.